Hi there. So just following up on my video from a couple of weeks ago, where I talked about three different self-regulation tools that I was going to go through to help people learn to self-regulate and self-manage their emotional state in order to be able to handle stressful situations much more effectively without becoming overwhelmed. And I'm going to do these steps one at a time. So the first one is called a negative thought pattern interrupt, and it is incredibly simple. So I'll explain it, and then I'll what it's about, and then I'll explain how to use it, and then you can test it for yourself. And once you've tested it and played around with it yourself, just stick some questions below in the comments and let me know. And if you haven't subscribed, then obviously subscribe to my channel because there's more coming, and there's a lot more to come. I plan on me doing probably a couple of videos a week. So this negative thought pattern interrupt is really, when you get into those situations where your mind is racing, you can't figure out the wood from the trees, don't know your arse from your elbow, as the saying goes, and it's like having this tornado spinning around in your head, and the more you try and stop it, the more you seem to feed it, and the bigger and stronger and more powerful it becomes, the darker it gets because it sucks up more shit. And it becomes this kind of self-fulfilling prophecy. And the more other people try and help you, the worse it gets, the bigger, darker, more powerful it becomes. And this vortex in your head, this big, powerful tornado, makes you feel really bad inside. You can feel it not just in your head, you can feel it in your throat, your muscles tighten in your upper body and your neck and shoulders. Your heart starts to increase. You start to sweat. You can feel either hot or cold and clammy. And you just generally feel really bad, really lousy, really low, and quite often scared, because when your heart rate comes up, because your adrenaline's pumping, your body has gone into fight or flight mode, the limbic system is kicked in, and it's uncomfortable, especially when it's not the appropriate way to feel. It's just become a default response for you because it's connected to something that made you feel similar in a different time that's completely unconnected. And this is all to do with emotional memory, our implicit memory. Now, I like to simplify things as much as I can, and I kind of see this as a negative mind game that this is playing at that moment in time, and it's running a habitual pattern. So this negative thought pattern interrupt is really a positive mind game that counteracts this negativity. And if you like, the thoughts and the feelings that we have connected to them are linked like this. And what this exercise, this little technique does, is helps to loosen that connection, reduce the intensity of those feelings that you're experiencing, that you currently have connected to those thoughts, so that you reduce the intensity, because feelings and emotions, they're on a spectrum. They're not on or off. They vary in intensity, and we have the capability to be able to reduce that intensity or to increase it if we think that we're not experiencing enough of what's going on. So the way this works is, the principle is because we get focused on thinking negatively about something, and we get into this, it's like a rut. We get in this rut of negative thinking about something. And the thoughts themselves are not the problem. Because if we felt differently about those thoughts could come and go as they please, and they wouldn't bother us, which is like most of our thoughts. We have any number of thoughts, who knows how many thoughts we have in a day, but most of them don't affect us because there's no real emotional connection to them. It's only these ones that have a strong negative emotion connected to them that makes us feel crap. So if we can reduce or disconnect the emotions that we had connected to it and disconnect them, then those thoughts become a very different thing. They have no more power over us because there's no emotional connection. So what I want you to do is to Let a situation come to mind where perhaps you didn't respond in the best way that you could. In hindsight, it's a wonderful thing. And if you were to be able to relive that situation again, at what point would you have wanted to be able to kind of intervene on yourself and calm yourself down, to relax yourself so that you can have a clear mind, think with your logical, rational mind rather than think through the limbic system, and make it emotionally charged based decisions, which very often aren't necessarily the most useful. So having that thought in mind and allow those feelings to build up, what I want you to do is just in your head, focus on how those feelings are, how they feel, and where in your body you feel them, whether it's in your head, your throat, your chest, in your core, wherever it is you feel it, and focus on how and where you feel it. And rather than focus on the thoughts, just let those thoughts do their own thing. A bit like when you're in the kitchen in the morning, if you're at home and Jeremy Carr's on in the background, it's irritating and annoying, but you can just mute it and let that program run its course, and you don't have to pay any attention to it. It's because the more you pay attention to it, probably if you're anything like me, the more irritated you got by the program by paying attention to it. So these thoughts are kind of the same. So I want you to let that thought come into your mind, let those feelings start to build up, and at the point where that's enough, I don't want that to get any stronger. In your head or out loud, all I want you to do is repeat over and over and over again a very short sentence until for some reason you feel you don't need to say it anymore and you stop. And the sentence is, it's just a thought, because that's all it is. It's imagination, regardless of whether it's something you're remembering, something you're thinking about that's going on at the moment, or something you imagine might happen in the future. They are just thoughts. They're not real. They cannot do anything to you. They're completely harmless. It's just the emotions that you currently have connected to them, which are usually based on experience of something similar that made you feel that way. So let those feelings thought in your mind, let those feelings build up. And at the point you want to stop it or start to reduce those feelings, in your head or out loud, just say, it's just a thought. And keep saying it over and over and over again on loop until you intuitively stop. So you literally just go in your head or out loud, just say, focus on where you're feeling it and how it's feeling, and focus on that and try and hang on to those feelings while you say, it's just a thought, 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 and keep going and going and going until you stop. And for some reason, you'll find that you will stop. And it may take 5 seconds, it may take 5 minutes. But either way, it's a very short space of time for you to be able to reduce that intensity, and you'll feel it start to reduce. Now, if for any reason you start to feel a bit of resistance in your mind, and your mind starts, right, we've dealt with that one, here's something else. Right, you fix that, here's something else. And if that keeps happening, that resistance, just let that resistance burn itself out. You don't have to pay any attention to it at all. There's no requirement for you to do anything with that other than let it burn itself out, because it will. And you just focus on, if another one comes in, okay, right, that's another one done. Check. You tick that box, that's done. Okay, bang, that's another one done. And just keep going. And you'll find that that resistance will subside, it will stop. And then you'll find this kind of peace as your mind slows down. That racing mind slows down. And at that point, all I want you to do is just enjoy that calmer state of mind and body. Just enjoy it and allow that peace and that calm and that relaxation just to kind of spread and sink deeper in. Because if based on experience, it's probably been a long time since you've had that peace and that calm and that relaxation in your mind and your body. So all I want you to do is practice this, use it as often as you like, Practice it, use it when you need to, in real time, when you feel anxiety, stress, anger, whatever it is that you need to use it for to diffuse the intensity of those feelings. And you can use it as many times as you want. So once you get to that point that first time and it stops or it reduces, okay, check on it and just kind of go inside and see what's going on. Just check what's going on, see how, and then go, right, okay, am I happy with where it's at, where it's reduced to? Or do I want to reduce it even more? And if you do, just run that process again. And you can run this process as many times as you need until you've either reduced it to a level that you feel comfortable with, or you disconnect it completely. So experiment, play around with it, test it out, take it for a test drive, and stick your comments below. I really love to hear how you get on with it, if you've got any questions. And yeah, I look forward to hearing and reading how you've got on with your experimenting with this little exercise. So until Saturday, when I post the next one, I'll post step 2, which is about reducing the brain speed. It's called a whole brain state, and it's about reducing brain frequency so you access a more relaxed operating frequency for your mind and your brain, so that you can strengthen and deepen that calm relaxation you get from this first step. So see you on Saturday. Have a great week.